Being a medieval knight wasn't the glamorous, heroic life you see in the movies. Nope, it was more like signing up for a lifetime of suffering, sweat, and swords. And that's if you didn't keel over from exhaustion or disease first. Picture this. You're a noble-born kid, barely 7 years old, and you're shipped off to a lord's castle to start your training as a page. Forget toys or story time. Your new job is to fetch water, serve food, and clean weapons for the real knights. Think of it like medieval summer camp, except it never ends. But hey, at least you get to start learning the basics of combat. Swordsmanship? Check. Horseback riding? Absolutely. But don't think it's fun in games. Your instructors? They believe the best teaching tool is pain. Mess up? You're getting smacked. Fall off your horse? Another smack. This isn't Hogwarts, it's survival training. And don't expect mom or dad to swoop in. They're busy running the manor, or squabbling with rival nobles. For them, shipping you off is an investment. A future knight brings prestige to the family, if you survive. By the time you're 14, congratulations, you're promoted to squire. But here's the catch. Now you're basically a glorified servant for an actual knight. You'll carry his weapons, polish his armor, groom his horse, and watch him bask in all the glory you dream of having one day. But wait, there's more. You're expected to train even harder now. Sword drills, lance practice, and grueling hours in chainmail and plate armor. Let me tell you, wearing armor isn't as cool as it looks. Sure, it'll protect you from a sword slash, but it also turns you into a sweaty, clanking furnace. And mobility? Forget about it. Walking feels like trudging through quicksand. Falling over? You might need help just to stand up again. And let's talk food. While your knight dines on roasted meats and wine, you're stuck with whatever scraps are left. Hope you like stale bread and pottage, because that's your diet. Fast forward a few years and you've finally earned the right to be knighted. Cue the trumpets. You kneel before your lord, take your oaths of loyalty, and rise as a full-fledged knight. Sounds great, right? Well, here's where the real fun begins. First, there's war. Remember those epic medieval battles with banners flying and trumpets blaring? Yeah, in reality, it was muddy chaos. Imagine hundreds of screaming men swinging swords, axes, and maces, all while arrows rain down from above. And you're stuck in 80 pounds of armor, trying not to trip over a fallen soldier or get crushed by a charging warhorse. Oh, and speaking of warhorses, those things were massive. A knight's steed wasn't just a mode of transport, it was a weapon. Trained to trample enemies, these horses were like medieval tanks. But if you got unseated in the heat of battle, good luck. You're basically a turtle on its back, surrounded by guys who want to turn you into a human pincushion. When you weren't fighting wars, you were expected to participate in tournaments. Jousting. It wasn't just for bragging rights, it was a chance to prove your worth. But let's be honest, charging at someone with a wooden lance at full speed wasn't exactly safe. Helmets might protect your skull, but they didn't do much for the whiplash. And broken bones? Practically guaranteed. Tournaments were dangerous, but they were also a spectacle. Lords and ladies would gather to watch knights beat each other senseless, cheering on their favorites like it was medieval MMA. And if you lost? Well, hope you saved up for medical bills. Or rather, a leech to drain your blood, because that's medieval medicine for you. Now let's talk hygiene, or the lack of it. Knights were filthy. Baths? Rare. They believed too much water could weaken the body. Your armor? Probably reeked of sweat, rust, and horse dung. Toothbrushes? Forget about it. And if you got a cut or wound, infection was almost a death sentence. Fun times. And don't think your fancy castle was much better. Cold, damp, and crawling with rats, it wasn't exactly the lap of luxury. Even your grand feasts came with a side of food poisoning, thanks to questionable medieval cooking practices. Then there's the code of chivalry. Be brave, protect the weak, stay loyal to your lord. Sounds noble, right? But in reality, it was a mixed bag. Protecting the weak often meant crushing peasant revolts or burning down enemy villages. Loyalty to your lord? That could get you killed in a political squabble that had nothing to do with you. And let's not forget the constant pressure to maintain your status. A knight was only as good as his land and wealth. Lose those, and you might find yourself begging for scraps from the same peasants you once swore to protect. In short, the life of a medieval knight was brutal, exhausting, and often deadly. So what do you think? Could you handle the trials of knighthood? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.